Hello YouTube. So today I want to talk about vertical investment versus horizontal investment in Genshin Impact and why I believe vertical investment is criminally underrated. First, in order to talk about this, we need to define what exactly vertical and horizontal investment means. Vertical investment refers to investing more into the teams that you already play to make them even stronger. For example, pulling for constellations and weapons. Horizontal investment, on the other hand, refers to pulling for new characters instead so that you have more team options available to you. Before we begin, I want to make it clear that although I am going to be mostly pointing out the benefits of vertical investment, I am by no means arguing that it is definitively better than investing horizontally, or that you or anyone else should be investing vertically instead of horizontally. I'm just trying to shed light on a perspective that I feel like no one else is talking about. With that said, in this community, horizontal investment generally tends to be considered more favorable than vertical. One of the most common arguments I see in favor for horizontal investment is that the game is not hard enough to need any team vertically invested into. Therefore, you may as well get new characters to have fun and new teams you can experience. While there is some truth to this, it is at the same time kind of out of touch with reality. For starts, the argument of the game not being hard enough. Sure, it is possible to clear the Abyss with 36 stars with a team of all 4 stars and C0 5 stars on 4-star weapons, but something being possible doesn't equate to it being probable. As we have been clearly seeing, the Spiral Abyss has been getting harder and harder. Anyone who tells you otherwise is kidding themselves. Please remember that floor 12 used to be a bunch of shield hilly churls. The type of enemies that we've been getting, such as concentrated beasts, all of the very high HP Barsis, etc., have been significantly increasing the difficulty of the Abyss, both through how much damage you need to do and how much survivability you need. Low vertical investment teams may be able to 36 star, but how much resetting and molding is it going to take? And do you think everyone wants to put up with that? Now on the other hand, you can make the argument that horizontal investment helps with the increasing difficulty, as you can have one team that works very well for one Abyss while your other team struggle. And this can be true depending on the specific Abyss. However, at the same time, rather than needing very specific counters to a specific Abyss, you could also just make your main team powerful enough to power through the increasing difficulty instead. Granted, sometimes a specific team can get countered too hard to just power through, so it can still be a good idea to have a couple of other team options available to you. And regarding the talking point of horizontal investment giving you new fun experiences, while I fully understand this logic, after all, Genshin is constantly releasing cool and exciting new characters, I think we need to be aware that this can also be a double-edged sword. For starts, when it comes to pulling new characters, you have absolutely no way of knowing if you will actually enjoy playing them or not. Genshin does have test runs, but these test runs are almost completely useless. They set you up with garbage teams and artifacts and put you against garbage enemy scenarios. It doesn't reflect what your actual experience will be with the character at all. Therefore, you won't know if you will enjoy the characters or not until you get them, unless you have like a friend with an account with the characters you can borrow or something like that. And if you end up not enjoying them, you may find that you have a character just sitting on your account that you never use, later on wishing you still had those primo gems that you spent on them. This is my current experience with characters like Ito, Ayato, and Shout that I have, but they're just permanently collecting dust. Additionally, the more characters you pull, the more resin you have to spend. Getting characters to level 90 or even 80 takes quite an amount of time. Then you also have to level up their talents, then you also have to get good artifacts for them. I don't know about you, but I am at the point with my account where I am sick and tired of having to go back to farming Barsis and experience book ley lines. This takes away time that I could have been spending on getting better artifacts for the characters that I already enjoy using, rather than the character that I may end up never even using anyway. On the other hand, with vertical investment, rather than chasing new experiences, you can enhance your experience with the characters you already have and enjoy using. Enhancing your current experiences can actually be a new experience in and of itself. For example, getting Wanderer to C2 on his rerun and being able to deal 500,000 bursts and kill enemies even faster sounds like a new experience to me, and one I am very excited for whenever his rerun comes. Vertical investment is also much more resin efficient. It does not cost any resin to activate a new constellation, Like getting a new weapon to level 90 doesn't take that much resin, significantly less than building up an entire new character. Now, another thing I see regarding vertical investment all the time is that it is not free to play friendly. For example, I do my calcs with at least one 5-star weapon on the team all the time. Sometimes I will also include a couple of constellations. Very often, I will have people completely dismiss my work because of it, due to it being quote unquote not F2P. But when have 5-star weapons or constellations ever been locked behind a paywall? Last time I checked, they cost Primo Gems, the exact same currency as a new character. There's absolutely nothing to say that a free-to-play player cannot get a 5-star weapon or constellation, and this is logic that I'm really tired of seeing in this community. In fact, it is arguable that it can actually be better for a free-to-play player to invest more into the teams they know they enjoy, rather than horizontally into new teams. Free-to-play players likely aren't resin refreshing and don't have the battle pass, so resources for building characters for them are much more limited. Since they have access to less Primo Gems, the risk of pulling for something they won't enjoy and end up not even using is a much bigger risk for them than somebody who's spending money on the game. It can also be easier to save your Primo Gems with this type of vertical investment. If you have a specific goal in mind that you are saving for, and you aren't constantly worrying about all these new character releases and reruns, then saving for this specific goal you have becomes much easier. On the other hand, if there are a lot of characters that you decide you want, you may end up in a scenario where multiple characters that you think you want are very close to each other, and you don't have enough Primo Gems to get them all. Granted, it can also be easier to save for multiple characters than for constellations on a specific character, if the multiple characters you want are spread out long enough to restock your Primo Gems for. There is a lot of nuance with these things, and it's never just black or white, one or the other. Another thing I want to mention is that you can actually invest both vertically and horizontally at the same time. I refer to this as diagonal investing. What I mean by this is, for example, let's say you are a Sino main, and you want to invest vertically into him. You could do so by getting his constellations, his weapon, Nahida's constellations, Elegy, or even Yelan's constellations. Getting his own constellations is mathematically the highest increase, but if you were to go for, say, his weapon instead, this is still a very good vertical investment, while also being a horizontal investment in that it has great carryover to the other teams, since it is an excellent polearm and many units. The same logic applies to if you were to go for, say, Nahida C2 or Elegy or Yelan's constellations. They are all great vertical investments for your Sino team, while also having great carryover to the other teams that you might end up playing with them. This is what I call diagonal investing. It moves both horizontally and vertically at the same time. Some other examples of great diagonal investments are things like Kazuha C2, and weapons like Primordial Jade Cutter, and so on. Kazuha C2 is a pretty significant improvement to almost any of the teams he is used in, excluding mono teams like Mono Pyro or Mono Cryo. And great generalist DPS weapons like Jade Cutter, Aqua Simulacra, Beacon or Redhorn, etc., weapons like that, are great diagonal investments because if you use a team with a DPS of those weapon types, say you're a Kaching main, then getting Jade Cutter is going to be a great vertical investment for her, but it's also going to be a great horizontal investment because you can use it on pretty much any sword DPS user, and it's going to be a good investment for those teams as well. So with all that said, at the end of the day, I am not saying that horizontal investment is bad or that you shouldn't do it. It is your account and entirely up to you what you want to do. I just wanted to express a different perspective on this topic that I feel like no one else really talks about, and give you something that might be worth thinking about. Personally, with the state of my current account, my number one priority is investing vertically into my Wanderer. For me, he is by far the most fun character in the entire game, and no one else comes even close. And he also has arguably the best vertical scaling with his constellations in the entire game as well, so it's very worth going for them. My goal is to eventually see 6 R1 him as a Welkin-only player. I don't have intentions to really go for any new characters at this point, unless they will be good additions to my Wanderer team. The only exception right now is I might eventually go for Scarlet Sands or C2 Nahida, or maybe even Baizu for my Sino. But yeah, that's about all I want to talk about today. If you liked today's video, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Please also let me know what you think about this topic in the comments below. Thanks. Bye.